Telemanque was born in 1767 in the West Indies. When he was young, Telemanque was captured and sold as a slave. He was brought to America where Captain Joseph Vesey bought him. Telemanque was renamed Denmark, and after a few years of hard work, he acquired his master's surname. Denmark proved to be a loyal slave. He accompanied Captain Vesey on many slave trading voyages until they settled in Charleston, South Carolina in 1783. During his time as a slave in Charleston, Denmark managed to educate himself and learn how to read. In 1800, 17 years after arriving in South Carolina, Denmark won a $15,000 lottery. He used $600 of his winnings to buy his freedom. Vesey had also wanted to buy the freedom of his children and wife, but he did not have enough money. Captain Vesey was struck with the beauty, alertness, and intelligence of the boy. The captain had no occasion to repent his purchase of Denmark, who proved for 20 years the most loyal slave. Now free, Denmark stayed in Charleston to work as a carpenter. Because he was a highly skilled artisan, Vesey was always looked up to with awe and respect by both black and white Americans. After being freed, Denmark became a minister for a branch of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in 1816. By 1820, the church had more than 3,000 members, which all looked up to and believed Denmark. Denmark spoke the truth about slavery and wanted everyone to know that it would end one day. Because he was a hard worker, in a few years Vesey had a large amount of money. Even though he was now prosperous and greatly admired, Denmark was not satisfied with the way blacks were treated.
"You are as good as any man," he told them. "We are slaves," they would reply. "And for saying so you deserve to be enslaved," he fired back. "You will remain slaves as long as you believe you are."
Denmark saw many slaves suffer and wanted to help them by ending slavery. Every day, Denmark witnessed the continual injustice tolerated by the slaves he saw. This drove him to read abolitionist literature. He found that there had been a successful revolt that occurred in Haiti in the 1790s. With this knowledge, he planned a similar revolt for Charleston. The uprising was scheduled to occur on Sunday, July 14th. Denmark chose this day because slaves could come into town on Sundays without creating suspicion. Vesey's strategy was to select lieutenants who could recruit large numbers of slaves. He and his group of slaves would then slay their masters and temporarily seize the city of Charleston. After the rebellion, Vesey and his followers had planned to sail to Haiti to escape retaliation. Knowing how loyal house slaves were to their masters, Vesey had not wanted to include any in the plot, but because there were so many people involved, many household servants ended up hearing about the plan. Eventually, some slaves got so nervous about keeping the uprising a secret that they let their masters in on what was happening. The authorities were contacted immediately and rounded up hundreds of slaves involved in the rebellion. Denmark Vesey was hanged early in the morning on July 2nd, along with 5 other slaves. 43 other slaves were deported and 35 were hanged. Even though Denmark did not succeed at freeing the slaves of Charleston, he did still have an impact on many other famous African Americans. John Brown was greatly impacted by Vesey's attempted uprising. John led a similar unsuccessful rebellion at Harper's Ferry, Virginia. He was a white abolitionist that was brought up believing that slavery was inhumane. His father was a religious man that strongly opposed slavery. John Brown, like Denmark, dedicated his life to helping African Americans gain freedom. Tommy Calvert, a modern-day abolitionist, helped free 6,000 slaves in Sudan. He is part of an international effort to address human rights issues. Tommy is a modern-day Denmark Vesey in the way that he is dedicating his life to ending slavery that is still going on today all over the world. Calvert's campaign has gone worldwide and is attracting national attention. He is hoping to educate people on how important it is to be aware that slavery is still an issue in many parts of the world. Denmark Vesey became a symbol of resistance and inspiration to many people with the same dreams and goals that he had.